Hey guys, in this video I want to talk about the new first of its kind projector that has Roku TV built into it. So this is a budget-friendly device. It's listed retail at $249.99, but you can often get it on sale for cheaper than that. I'll post an Amazon link to this device down in the description if you'd like to check it out yourself there. But what I'm going to do in this video is first touch on the important information about this device, then I'm going to go through the entire setup process from start to finish, and then at the end show you what it looks like projecting against my wall during the day and at night. But to touch on some of the main things with this device, so it's going to project in 1080p, so high definition but not 4K. It has two built-in speakers that are Dolby audio. The size of the image of the projection is going to be anywhere between 40 inches on the low end all the way up to 150 inches, so you can decide how large of an image that you want to have projected at that 1080p. Taking a look at the contents of the box, so we have our power cord. It comes with a Roku TV remote. Now it actually doesn't come with batteries, so you're going to need to provide your own AAA batteries to get the remote up and running. But then we have the device here. I think it's a pretty good looking design overall. It's pretty small, just up next to my hand. You can see that it isn't necessarily the biggest device, which is kind of nice. It's pretty portable. The design here on the projector is made like this to minimize dust that can potentially get in there. In terms of what we have on the back, so this is where the power cord goes. Then towards the top, we have an HDMI input. For instance, if you wanted to plug in like a video game console or some other type of device that you would want to put into this to project with that. You can put a USB stick in here that might have media on it. You can put your headphones in here with a headphone jack. It's also Bluetooth capable, so you can connect speakers or headphones over Bluetooth as well. We have the power button there, and we can see it's Dolby audio with the speakers. Like I was saying, there's two of them. Each of them are 5 watts. So that's the device that we have here. And now I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step process on how to set up this device so that we can get it linked up with a Roku account and then start projecting on the wall and getting everything set up. In terms of how you want to set up your projector, we have different options, whether you want to mount it from the ceiling, whether you want it on a table or a desktop, and whether you want it projecting either in front of the wall or behind a screen that you're going to be projecting on. So for me, I'm going to be doing it in front of the wall on a desktop, so I'm doing this orientation. So removing this plastic film over our lens, and then taking out the power cord, plugging it in on the back of the projector, and then we're going to plug into power. You can press the power button here on the back, and then things should start to fire up and get going. It's important to note that the size of the screen that you want projected is going to depend on how far away you are from the source that you're projecting to. So for a 40-inch screen, it's 3.6 feet, 60-inch is 5.4 feet, 7.2 feet is 80 inches, 100-inch projection is going to be at 9 feet, at 10.8 feet it's 120 inches, and then the max size is 150 inches at 13.45 feet. And I'm going to test out doing the maximum range, so it's 13.45 feet away from the wall, and seeing what that looks like. Additionally, at this time, we can open up the back of our Roku TV remote, take those two AAA batteries that we have to provide ourselves. We're going to slide those in the back, and then put the back on our remote, and we should be good to go with that. I have it set up on a table here about 13.5 feet away from the wall that I'm going to be projecting to. And you can see we have a little kickstand here at the bottom. So if you want this to be on a little bit of an angle projecting upwards towards your wall, you can pull out this little kickstand. And it's in the middle of the day right now. It's a very sunny day. I closed some of my curtains, but I have a window right over here on the side that doesn't have any shades that I can put in front of it, so I have a lot of light coming in there. So obviously with any projector, best case scenario, if you can dim the lights in any kind of way, you're going to be getting a better view of the screen. If you're in the middle of the day, there's a lot of sun, the screen isn't going to look as bright in those instances as you're competing against that sunlight. The first thing we get during setup is whether we want screen reader on or off. This is for people that are visually impaired to help during this setup process, but the vast majority of you are going to be turning off the screen reader, so we can click OK on that. Now to get started, we need to select our language. So for me, it's going to be English. And I'm in the United States, so I'm going to select that. Then you need to select your orientation of your projector. So I am in front of the screen on a tabletop, so the first option there, I'm going to click OK. Now it's going to scan for wireless networks in our general vicinity. And as long as your Wi-Fi router is on and pushing out a signal, we should be able to find it in this area. And like I said, this projector works with 2.4G or 5G wireless connections. In my Wi-Fi router, I split these connections up. So if I wanted to connect to 5G, it's this one. My 2G option is this one. So I can do either of those options to connect up, then enter in your Wi-Fi router password to connect up to the internet. And once we do that, we're gonna click connect, and then it's gonna connect up to my Wi-Fi router. Then it's gonna check if there's any software updates available once you're connected to the internet. So we're gonna click OK so that it can update the software on our device. Once the software update is done, it's gonna restart and reboot the device. And then it's gonna go through its automatic adjustment process to get the best clarity that it can for where it's set up, and it does that during that reboot process. The next thing that we're gonna do is either create a Roku account or sign in and link up with a Roku account that is already created. Either way, what we're gonna do is click OK on where it says enter email. So clicking on that, enter in the email address that either you already have set up with a Roku account or that you want to set up with a new created Roku account. So we're gonna enter in your email up here, and then after that, we're gonna click continue. It's gonna send us that email, and I'll take you over to my computer to show you what that looks like in the next step. Over on my computer, logging in to my email address, I can see that I got an email here from Roku to activate my device. So what I wanna do is click on this email. And inside the email, we can see we have the option to activate the device. So I'm gonna click on that. And then we're gonna go through the activation process. Now, if you don't already have a Roku account, you can set that up at this time. It's going to use the Roku account that I have already set up. So what I wanna do is name my device, and I'm just gonna keep the name the same. And then in terms of the room that this is setting up in, it's gonna be in my living room. And then you can take a look at the Roku products terms of service, and if everything looks good, we can check that box and then continue. This next step is optional, so if you want, you can go through and answer some questions to find some personalized channels and offers that Roku will recommend to you based on what you want to have access to through this device. But I'm not going to do this part, so I'm going to click skip. Either way, it's going to give you some recommendations of different apps that you can have on your Roku home screen, downloading and installing those different apps depending on what you're interested in. So if any of these look good to you, you can add them to your Roku TV. But then what we're going to do is click continue. And if you'd like, you can take a look at some free trials and offers for some different applications. And once you take a look at those, if you want to start any trials, you can. Otherwise, we can click continue at the bottom. And our setup is now complete. So to manage your account preferences and subscriptions, you can do that over at my.roku.com. You can also set up the Roku mobile app, which will give you an additional Roku remote that you can use through your phone with your Roku TV projector. But I'm going to click here where it says go to my account. And you'll be able to see all of your account information in this area. So you can set up payment methods for different subscriptions that you might want to utilize through your Roku TV of different premium apps that you can pay for. And it can just use your payment that you have on file. You can update your account info. And scrolling down, you can also see all of the Roku devices that you have linked up to your account. But I'm going to take you back over to our Roku TV projector to see what it looks like now that we're set up with our account. Now booting our projector back up so we can go through the rest of this process. So it says, let's connect your devices. I'm gonna click OK on the remote. If you have a cable box, a video game console, anything like that hooked up to the projector through the HDMI cord, for instance, then you can click where it says everything is plugged in and turned on so that you can set up those devices. Essentially, it'll just create an HDMI app on your Roku home screen if it's anything like the other Roku TVs that I have. And so you'll have easy access to those connected devices. But I don't have anything hooked up to the projector through the HDMI cord, but you don't need anything else hooked up to the projector. We can just use the Roku TV operating system to access all of our content. So I'm gonna click do this later. And I don't wanna set up any of the Roku cameras to this device, but if you have any of the Roku indoor or outdoor security camera devices or the Roku doorbell, for instance, you can link that up so that you can get access to the camera feeds through your Roku TV if you'd like to do that. But I'm gonna click close. Then you're gonna see all of your apps on the home screen in this area. So for whatever reason, if you'd like to get rid of an app, you can scroll through. Let's just say, for instance, maybe I wanna get rid of PBS Kids. On my Roku remote, I can click the little asterisk. That's gonna open up the menu options for that particular app, and I can either move the app around if I'd like to do that. You can check for updates, or we can remove the app by clicking that and then clicking remove, and that'll get rid of that particular app. And you can do this with any of the apps that you have on your home screen. Going over here to our side menu, we can go to the search area and we can look for specific apps or any particular content that we would like to watch and see how we can access that through this area. But again, it's the middle of the day, it's very sunny out, so it is a little more difficult to see the screen at this point in the day. but I'm gonna head back over to the home screen and launch the YouTube application so we can see what a video playing looks like. And then later in the day when the sun goes down, I'll show you what it looks like so we can see a little bit of a difference. Also, I'm just projecting against a wall. I don't have any screen or anything that's built specifically for amplifying a projector screen. It's just on a plain painted wall right here. So going over to YouTube, launching that, and launching some video here. And again, the picture is not gonna be great, middle of the day, very bright in here. Projecting against a painted wall. I'm actually gonna go grab a sheet to throw up on the wall that's specifically made for projector to see if we can get it looking a little bit better here in the middle of the day. After putting up one of these cheap projector sheets that I got a long time ago on Amazon, I just had it sitting around. I put it up on the wall, and actually, somewhat surprisingly, I think it's even worse in these conditions with it being pretty bright in here with the sunshine and just not being able to see much of what's on the screen. So I'm gonna take that down, and then I'm gonna wait for the sun to go down when it's a darker situation for what's gonna be a better case scenario, getting a better image of what's being projected. It's not pitch dark outside yet. It is past 8 o'clock in the evening, so it is significantly darker than it was earlier, and you can see we're getting a much clearer, brighter image. Not a big surprise as it's not competing with that sunlight. So again, I'm gonna launch YouTube and open up a video. Opening up that same video that I was playing earlier, and we can see just an absolute much better situation now. And again, this is being projected from about 13.5 feet away. It's giving me about 150-inch size screen, and it looks pretty good, all things considered. It's being projected off of a flat painted beige tannish color wall. And I'd say it looks pretty solid. Now, in the instruction manual, it does recommend being for optimum brightness, clarity, and picture consistency to be at about 5.5 feet away from the source that you're projecting to. And that makes sense if the projector is closer to the wall. The light that it is emitting isn't being spread out as much. So it's a bit of a give and take there. If you want a larger image, that light is being spread over a larger area, so it's just not gonna be quite as bright. I'm gonna move it up to about that 5.5 feet away from the wall so we can see what that looks like as well. As we can see from back here, the picture is pretty puny now that it's down to more about a 60-inch image on the screen as opposed to the 150 inches that we had before. So I'm gonna move the camera a bit closer. Now, the really cool thing about this projector is that it automatically adjusts for clarity of the picture. When I moved it from 13.5 feet to about 5.5 feet away from the wall, it did the automatic clarity adjustment to make the screen as clear as possible at this new distance away from the wall. So that's a pretty convenient feature. Gonna open up that same video again so we can see what it looks like now at the 60-inch screen size as opposed to the 150-inch that we just came from. But I don't think it's a deal breaker either way. Yeah, it's a bit brighter and maybe a little bit more vivid and clear, but not such a huge difference that it makes or breaks a difference here. If you really want that larger screen image, I think it's pretty solid overall, even all the way up to the 150 inches. But if you want it a bit crisper, brighter, clearer, you can always move it forward and have it projecting at a smaller screen size. In terms of a budget-friendly projector, this one seems pretty solid. At that retail price of $249.99, I got it for a discount even beyond that, just an added coupon that was available at the time through Amazon. I'll post an Amazon link to this projector down in the description if you would like to check it out for yourself. And it's offering us a pretty compelling situation where we don't have to have external devices plugged in to this projector. That Roku operating system is built right into it, and it's not a huge projector. You can fit it pretty much anywhere, whether you want to mount it to the ceiling, have it on a table or a desk. You just need to make sure that your viewing situation that you have at your home is going to be beneficial for a projector. You need to have a place where you can put it that's a certain distance away from the wall, depending on what size screen that you would like to have. But in my opinion, this is a pretty solid option in terms of a budget-friendly projector. If you're looking to have an affordable option to have a very large screen to be able to watch, to have the option of doing so up to 150 inches. That'll wrap this one up. I appreciate you guys stopping by, and consider subscribing to the YouTube channel for more content in the future.